The 10 most embarrassing things Simon Cowell desperately wants you to forget, and the stories behind them. Simon Cowell, known for his sharp tongue and serious face, had one of his most awkward moments during American Idol with fellow judge Paula Abdul. This moment wasn't about harsh words or tough criticism. Instead, it was about an unexpected kiss that left everyone, including the audience, feeling a little uncomfortable. It all happened during one of the live shows. The judges were having fun, teasing each other as usual. But then, things took a strange turn. Paula and Simon, who often joked around like they were in a love-hate relationship, decided to playfully flirt on air. What started as harmless banter quickly became an awkward moment that no one saw coming. As the cameras were rolling, Paula leaned in closer to Simon, and before anyone knew it, they shared a quick kiss on the lips. It wasn't a serious kiss, more like a peck, but it was enough to make the audience gasp. The other judges, Randy Jackson included, couldn't believe what they had just seen. Everyone was shocked, and the air was filled with nervous laughter. Simon tried to laugh it off, but it was clear that the moment was awkward for everyone. The kiss wasn't planned, and it was obvious that neither Paula nor Simon knew what to do next. They both looked a little embarrassed, and the whole thing felt a bit forced. The cameras quickly moved on, but the strange moment stayed with viewers and became one of the most talked about incidents in American Idol history. The kiss incident is a good example of how sometimes even the most confident people can have awkward moments on live TV. Simon, who is usually so composed, was caught off guard. It showed that even he could be part of a cringe-worthy moment, and it was something that viewers couldn't forget. This moment between Simon and Paula wasn't just embarrassing because it was awkward, it was also surprising because it was so unlike Simon to be caught off guard. He is usually the one in control, but this time, the tables were turned. The Paula Abdul kiss incident remains one of those unforgettable moments that shows that live TV can be full of surprises. Another embarrassing moment for Simon Cowell was his public feud with Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson was the first ever winner of American Idol, and while Simon helped launch her career, things between them weren't always smooth. It all started when Simon made some comments that didn't sit well with Kelly. He hinted that she wasn't as grateful as she should be for the platform American Idol gave her. Simon seemed to think that Kelly wasn't giving enough credit to the show or to him for helping her become famous. He even suggested that Kelly's success was mostly because of American Idol and not her talent. Kelly, however, didn't stay quiet. She fired back, saying that she worked hard for her success and that it wasn't just because of the show. Kelly felt that Simon was trying to take too much credit for her achievements, and she wasn't going to let that slide. The feud became public, with both sides making their feelings known in interviews and on social media. The whole situation was awkward because it put Simon in a bad light. Instead of being seen as the mentor who helped Kelly, he came across as someone who wanted to control the narrative of her success. Many people felt that Simon was being unfair to Kelly, especially since she had proven herself as a talented singer with hit after hit. Simon's comments also backfired because Kelly's fans rallied behind her. They saw her as a hard-working artist who earned her place in the music world, not just as a product of a TV show. Simon's attempt to downplay her talent only made him look petty and jealous, which was not a good look for someone who is usually so confident and in control. The feud didn't last forever, and both Simon and Kelly eventually moved on. However, the damage was done. The public saw a different side of Simon, one that was more concerned with getting credit than supporting the artists he helped discover. It was a rare moment where Simon's words got him into trouble, and it showed that even he could make mistakes when it came to handling relationships with the stars he helped create. The Cowell versus Clarkson feud is a reminder that even someone as powerful as Simon can have moments where they say the wrong thing and end up looking bad. One of Simon Cowell's most embarrassing moments happened when he got called out by none other than Mariah Carey. Mariah is one of the biggest names in music, and she's known for her incredible voice and huge hits. But she's also known for not holding back when she has something to say, and Simon found this out the hard way. The incident took place after Mariah Carey had spent a season as a judge on American Idol. Simon, who wasn't on the show that season, made some comments about her time on the show. He hinted that Mariah wasn't a good fit for the judging panel and suggested that her time on American Idol didn't go well. Simon's remarks seemed to imply that Mariah wasn't as good of a judge as he was, and that the show had made a mistake by hiring her. Mariah didn't let these comments slide. She responded in a way that only Mariah could. In interviews, she called out Simon for his remarks, saying that he didn't know what he was talking about. Mariah made it clear that she didn't appreciate Simon's criticism, especially since he wasn't even on the show at the time. She reminded everyone that she's a legend in the music industry and that her experience speaks for itself. Mariah's response was a big deal because it showed that even Simon Cowell, who is usually the one doing the judging, could be judged himself. And this time, the tables were turned on him. Mariah's words made Simon look like he was out of touch with what really happened on the show. Instead of looking like the expert, Simon ended up looking like someone who was just taking cheap shots at a superstar. The whole situation situation was embarrassing for Simon because it showed that he couldn't always get away with making harsh comments. Mariah Carey wasn't someone who would let him have the last word, and she made sure that everyone knew it. Her clapback made headlines and reminded Simon that even he has to be careful about who he criticizes. In the end, Simon didn't really have a good comeback to Mariah's response. The incident showed that even the most powerful people in the entertainment industry can be put in their place, especially when they go up against someone as big as Mariah Carey. It was a lesson for Simon that sometimes it's better to stay quiet. One of the most embarrassing moments for Simon Cowell happened during Britain's Got Talent when Susan Boyle stepped onto the stage. Susan, who wasn't like the usual contestants, surprised everyone with her appearance. She looked simple and didn't fit the image of a typical superstar. Simon, known for his quick judgments, made a big mistake that day. As Susan walked out, Simon's face showed that he didn't expect much from her. He looked skeptical and even a little dismissive. It was clear that he didn't believe someone like Susan could have the talent to impress him. He made a few comments that hinted he thought this was going to be just another bad audition. The audience and judges, including Simon, were ready to write her off before she even started singing. But then, Susan began to sing I Dreamed a Dream from Les Miserables, and everything changed. Her voice was incredible, powerful, and full of emotion. The whole room was stunned. Simon's jaw dropped, and he couldn't believe what he was hearing. The same woman he had just underestimated was now giving one of the best auditions ever seen on the show. This moment was embarrassing for Simon because it showed how wrong he could be. He had judged Susan by her looks and not by her talent. Simon, who is usually so sure of his opinions, had to admit that he had made a huge mistake. After Susan finished singing, the audience gave her a standing ovation, and Simon had to eat his words. He quickly changed his tune and praised her performance, but the damage was done. The clip of Susan's audition, along with Simon's reaction, went viral. People all over the world saw how Simon had misjudged her, and it became one of the most talked about moments in the show's history. It was a reminder to everyone, including Simon, that you should never judge a book by its cover. Simon's initial criticism of Susan Boyle before her audition is a classic example of how even the most experienced judges can get it wrong. It was a humbling experience for Simon and a powerful moment that taught everyone a lesson about giving people a fair chance. This embarrassing moment is one that will always be remembered, not just because of Susan's incredible talent, but also because of Simon's mistake in underestimating her. Simon Cowell is famous for his harsh criticism, but sometimes it backfires, leading to some pretty embarrassing moments. One of these moments happened when Simon's tough words didn't have the effect he expected. Instead of helping the contestant, it made Simon look bad. On American Idol and other talent shows, Simon was known for being the judge who didn't hold back. He would often say things that were blunt and sometimes even hurtful. He believed that being honest, even if it was harsh, was the best way to help contestants improve. But there were times when his harshness crossed the line, and it didn't go over well with the audience or the contestant. One such moment happened when Simon harshly criticized a young singer's performance. He said the performance was boring and that the contestant didn't have what it took to make it in the music industry. His words were so strong that they left the contestant visibly upset. The audience also reacted negatively, with some people booing Simon for his comments. What made this moment even more embarrassing for Simon was that the contestant he criticized so harshly went on to prove him wrong. Despite Simon's negative feedback, the contestant worked hard, improved, and eventually became successful in the music industry. This showed that Simon's harsh words weren't always accurate, and that sometimes he could be too quick to judge. The backlash from the audience also made this a tough moment for Simon. Instead of agreeing with him, the audience sided with the contestant, showing that they thought Simon was being too mean. This reaction was embarrassing for Simon because it showed that his tough approach didn't always work. Instead of looking like a knowledgeable judge, he came across as someone who was being unnecessarily harsh. This moment is a reminder that while honesty is important, there's a fine line between being truthful and being hurtful. Simon's harsh criticism backfired, not only because the contestant went on to succeed, but also because it made Simon look bad in the eyes of the public. It was a lesson for Simon that sometimes it's better to be kind and supportive rather than just blunt. Another embarrassing moment for Simon Cowell happened when he bashed Meghan Trainor's hit song, All About That Bass. Meghan was a new artist at the time, and her song became a big hit. It was catchy, fun, and had a positive message about body positivity. However, Simon didn't seem to appreciate it, and his comments ended up causing quite a stir. When Meghan first performed All About That Bass on a talent show, Simon didn't hold back in his criticism. He said that he didn't like the song and thought it was silly. Simon's words surprised many people because All About That Bass was loved by fans all over the world. The song was all about celebrating different body types, and people found it refreshing and uplifting. Simon's harsh comments didn't sit well with Meghan or her fans. They felt that he was being unfair unfair and dismissive of a song that meant a lot to many people. Megan had worked hard to write and perform the song, and to hear Simon, who was a big judge in the music industry, say he didn't like it felt discouraging. After Simon's criticism, Megan didn't back down. She stood up for herself and her song, saying that it was important to spread a message of self-acceptance. She reminded everyone that music is about expressing yourself, and that her song resonated with a lot of people. Megan's response showed that she was confident in her work and wasn't going to let Simon's harsh words bring her down. The backlash from fans was significant. Many people took to social media to defend Megan and her song. They pointed out that Simon's criticism was misplaced, especially since the song was doing so well on the charts. This made Simon look out of touch and embarrassed him because he was supposed to be a music expert. In the end, All About That Bass became one of Meghan Trainor's biggest hits, and Simon's criticism didn't change that. Instead, it highlighted how sometimes even the biggest names can miss the mark. This moment serves as a reminder that music is subjective, and what one person may dislike, many others may love. Simon's harsh words backfired, making him look foolish and proving that Megan's song was a hit that resonated with fans everywhere. Another embarrassing thing Simon Cowell did was overhyping some contestants on talent shows. Simon is known for his strong opinions, and sometimes he gets very excited about certain performers. He would praise them a lot, calling them the next big star, but sometimes this excitement didn't match the reality of the performances. One time Simon was very enthusiastic about a contestant who sang really well in their audition. He told everyone that this person was going to be a superstar and that they would definitely win the competition. His excitement made everyone think this contestant was going to go far in the show. However, when the contestant performed again in the live rounds, things didn't go as well. They didn't deliver the same level of performance, and the judges and audience were not as impressed. Because Simon had hyped this contestant so much, people were surprised when they didn't live up to the high expectations. Simon's strong words made it seem like the contestant was unbeatable, but the reality was different.